Good evening, you beautiful people out there in YouTube land, and welcome once again to Forged from Iron. If you're new or if you're a returning person, please drop a like on the stream. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit that bell icon and you'll know when we're live or other content is uploaded at our leisure. So where you go. Right. Also, we'd like you to support our Iron supporting initiative. So Forged from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to discuss the match day 6 of 6. We're at the end of the group stage. We've won 5 of the previous 5 matches. We're looking to make it a clean sweep. And if you didn't know, if we win tomorrow, Duke, we will set a UEFA Europa Conference League record. Because nobody last season had a 100% record in the group, and nobody this season will have a 100% record in the group other than us if we win.
Oh, we've got to win then.
So it'll be a little bit of history.
Yeah. Which I remember when we were talking about qualification 2 years ago. Christ, it seems like a long time ago now. And I said about, it's lovely to be the inaugural winners of this competition. Obviously wasn't to be, and it went to Roma. And Jose Mourinho, which, completed the European trophy collection for him, didn't it? By winning this one last season. So it's obviously, I don't care what anyone says with regard.
Charlie's in Romania.
Well, he actually says a bit further down, good evening from 36,000 feet.
Oh, he's flying. Oh, shit.
So, screw that.
He's on his way. He's on his way to Romania.
I'll tell you what, his arms must be aching if he's like that. Either that or he's Superman, and then he's texting him flying because he's not watching where he's going. He's giving it all this.
Hey, Beck. Hey, Fridge.
DJ Becker. She's stepping in for me on Friday night now while you and I go visit. While you and I go visit the former strikers within the club. So she's stepping in for me, DJ Becker.
Hey, Neil.
She has her own Facebook there as well. But yeah, like I say, if it's good enough for Josie, then
89.
It's obviously good enough for us. I didn't know that no one had got a clean sweep last season in the clean sweep for the group game. So yeah, it'd be nice to go out on a win. But I also think it's important that we go out. Thank you, Kate. Much appreciated, lovely. It's important that we try to get some of these youngsters some game time as well. I know there's a lot of talk this morning, the squad that flew out. I was watching Gio and Gonzo's preview from yesterday. I believe they put it up, and they were talking about a lot of the youngsters that they'd like to see play, etc. So, for me, it's important, but, it's important to keep the momentum going, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a little bit, and we were discussing it before we hit the start button. I'm a little bit confused as to what the squad is that we've actually taken, and I don't know if anyone in the chat can confirm what the squad was or is. The reason why I say that is because I was sent something a little bit earlier which apparently was from ex-WHU employee, and it gave the squad as follows. Areola, Randolph and Hegyi as the goalkeepers. The defenders being Aguerd, Ashby, Casey, Clayton, Kufau. The midfielders being Coventry, Downs, Forbes, Fornals, Forson, Johnson. Johnson's not a midfielder. Why is he in there? Lanzini, and then... Actually, no, this is in alphabetical order. Whatever. Okay. Johnson, Lanzini, Mubama, Ogbonna, Orford, Skulls, and Swyan. The one name that I didn't see there was Freddie Potts. Now, if you look on the official website, about 8-9 hours ago, there was a post that was involved Freddie Potts, and it was saying, making a very big hint that he could be involved tomorrow. So,
who knows, Rob? All I know is I'd like to see a good mixture. I'd like to see 5 or 6 senior players alongside 5 or 6 of the youngsters. You know, the last time we did this, we put out a completely, untested in top flight football anyway, back 4. I'll tell you what, I don't know who you've gone for your goalkeeper. I know who I'd like to see in there, much the same as Gio over on Hammer's Chat is where my thoughts are. I'd like to see yours. I'll tell you what, Hammer, if he's half as good as his old man, I'll take it.
Oh, Freddie Potts. Yeah. I've heard some glowing reports about young Mr. Potts. So, I mean, obviously, he's still got to come into the first team and make, get his... he's got to get an opportunity from David Moyes.
Yeah.
B, once he's given the opportunity, he's got to grab it with both hands. Who
was the other, the young lad Potts got? Danny, that was it. He got kicked in the head at Arsenal,
wasn't it?
If I remember rightly. He's at Luton now.
Last I heard, there was a load of ex-West Ham at Luton at one point. There was Potts, there was Reece Burke, there was Pelly Ruddock. There was a few. When I looked through the team, I think they played in the FA Cup against... I can't remember who.
I didn't think Dan Potts was that bad, to be honest with you, Rob.
No, I didn't.
Thought watching him, especially remembering that game against Arsenal, he put in a bloody good shift in that game against Arsenal.
Right back, wasn't he?
He was, before he got absolutely mullered.
Yeah.
And for me, then after that, and I remember putting something on social media saying, the result now becomes irrelevant as long as young Potts was okay. I mean, his dad was one of my favourite West Ham players.
Very underrated player.
I actually called him Mr. Whereas Mark Noble was Mr. West Ham, for me, Steve Potts was Mr. Reliable. Mr. Dependable, I think was the nickname I gave him.
Always a 7 out of 10, wasn't he?
Never. Always. I loved him.
Yeah.
Great
just real quick, we'll just go through the comment sections real quick, guys. I believe she is Sharky. I believe she is. Going back to Cotty last night, do you think it's a point blank no of him having a role at the club, either on the board or ambassador or coaching? I think all the time that David Sullivan's in, I don't think they see eye to eye reading between the lines. I mean, Tony's didn't actually say that in so many words, but I think he's offered. He said himself, he's offered, and they've never took him up. So you just kind of think, it's not going to happen, is it? If there's a takeover, and whether that's Kretinsky or whether that's another, then it might become a pos. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier. I'd love to get him involved in the team as a striker coach.
Yeah.
The amount of knowledge that guy has about doing probably the most difficult thing in football, putting the ball in the back of the net. This is a guy, as I said yesterday, there's only 16 men that have more goals than him in English top flight league football going from 1888 to the present day. Only 16 people are ahead of him in the list. Only 2 of them are alive.
Madness. Absolute madness. Rob.
I think we need to utilise that. I think we need to harness that sort of experience and get it in. Emerson, he's not in the squad. Very, very odd, I think. But we'll see. Maybe there's an injury. I don't know. Sharky reckons Randy in goal. Well, we'll cover that in a minute. Dan didn't make the cut. Yes, he didn't. Right, okay, I'm just going to put this to one side, guys, and we're going to go with the the starting 11s. But before we do, if anyone is interested, here are the officials. So they're all from Germany. So Duke, you've got some German ancestry in you. How's your German pronunciations?
Probably about as good as yours.
Go on then. Tap
Stegemann.
into your inner
Sasha
Deutschlander.
Stegemann. I'm going to
Yep.
go with Achmuller.
Okay. Yep.
Marco Achmuller.
Yep.
And you have to have Ach in there as well.
Yep.
Christoph Gunsch.
Yep.
Gunsch. And Badstubner.
Florian Badstubner.
Badstubner.
Yep.
No.
Okay.
No.
Just if anyone is interested, the referee Sascha Stegemann, he's 37 years of age. He was born in Niederkassel in the west of the country. He's been officiating in the Bundesliga since 2014. He joined the FIFA list in 2019. He works in public admin when not on the football pitch. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, there is no VAR in operation in this particular fixture, and there will also be no goal line technology used in Bucharest. So there you go. Just so we all know what we're up against. Okay, let's get into my starting 11 prediction. Okay, this is what I've cobbled together. This is what I would like to see. Like I say, whether it's what David Moyes will kick out is another matter. I would like to see a switch formation. I'd like to see us play 3 at the back. And I emphasize, ladies and gentlemen, not 5 at the back. I want to see us play with proper wing backs, not full deep lying wing backs, which are basically full backs, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see us play with a 3-4-3 formation or a 3-4-2-1. Randolph in goal. My reasoning for that is very, very simple. Very, very simple. Fabianski isn't in the squad. Areola is, if Fabianski doesn't get fit for the game against Palace on Sunday, is very likely that Areola is going to start. So I would not play him here. So it has to be Randolph as far as I'm concerned. Then we get Ogbonna on the left of the back 3, Aguerd at the centre, and I would put Ben Johnson at the right of that 3. Now, we move into midfield. Central midfield, I would have Connor Coventry. I don't think he did a bad job in the game against Silkeborg. So I think he's there on merit, personally. Alongside him, now, I would have Oliver Scholes. Yes, Oliver Scholes from the under-18s, and he was involved in, I think he was involved in the last game away, wasn't he?
Yes.
So, yeah, I would involve him. I would have Regan Clayton as the left wing back. I would have Harrison Ashby is the right wing back. Like I say, this is not necessarily what I think David Moyes will pick, but this is what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Pablo Fornals and Manuel Lanzini playing just off the striker, who is Divin Mubama, who again is from the youth grade teams. I don't want to see players that are first team regulars. I don't want to see Rice. I don't want to see Souček. I mean, a lot of them aren't in the squad fundamentally, but I don't want to see too many players that are starters very likely against Palace, like Ben Rama, for example, like Scamacca, like Antonio, whatever. Don't want to see them anywhere near the pitch. There's not a good return on the risk versus reward as far as I'm concerned. But Duke, get into that. Tell me what you think. What would you like to see? And you guys in the live chat as well.
I'd actually like to see Heggie in goal, to be honest with you, because I just think it'd be a bloody good opportunity for him, like you say, to come in, take it with both hands. But that'd be for me. I'd actually like to see Heggie in goal. Ashby, yes, I'm all over that. Coventry, yes. You know what? Other than your keeper, yes, I think I would be quite happy to see that. Connor Coventry's been given a couple of opportunities now, and it'd be nice to see him continue that growth, if you will. Yep. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, Rob, if you take a look at what happened last year, these boys could be shipped out on loan next season. It won't fucking matter anyway. You know, you only have to look at Longello. He's gone out on loan and seems to be doing really well.
Doing really well.
You know, Baptiste is still with us. Who left? Who went to?
Alessi.
Alessi went to Sunderland. You know,
Yeah.
it kind of defeated the object of giving them the option for the two, you know, to go and play. It kind of defeated the object. You might as well just screw them off out of it anyway. So I don't think you can read too much into this, but I actually would like to see. I would actually like to see Aggie in goal.
Okay. Any particular reason?
Because
I mean,
honestly,
yeah. I mean, have you actually seen him play at all?
No.
Okay.
Randolph, if I'm honest, Randolph had that opportunity. He's had opportunities of first team football throughout his career.
Yep.
His career is now on the far side of that mountain, the decline. He's pretty much done. So it's kind of now defeating the object. What do you want? Yes,
flexing his muscles. I don't, from my information, Ken, I don't even believe that Baptiste has travelled. In actual fact, I've been keeping an eye on the sort of like the age of the under 21s and the under 18s. 18s are doing brilliantly. 21s are doing awful. Any of you guys that have been following my brother of late, he's had two bits and pieces. He follows the under 21s and the under 18s quite intently. He's become our youth grade correspondent. But Baptiste seems to have disappeared off the face of the earth. I don't know whether it's an injury. I don't know whether he's just persona non grata. I haven't got a clue. But as I say, according to that squad that I was given earlier, if that's to be believed, he's not part of it.
Strange.
Yeah, it is, because I just don't know. Like I say, he was someone that. But I mean, there's a bit of a trend. I'm a little bit worried, Duke. I just sort of slightly to diverge a little bit.
That's what we do.
Something that worries me is that obviously there's a lot of talk about Ashby. It's very likely he's going to be buggering off. I suspect it's very likely that despite the fact that he's gone away and he's done very, very well, that Longello won't be staying at this parish for too much longer. I think that obviously the loss of Sonny Perkins, that was there's an awful lot of youth grade players that we've let go or whatever's happened, that they've sort of moved on to pastures new. And I do wonder what the bloody hell is going on.
Well, for me, I think next season, personally, I'd yeah, exactly, Charlie. To be honest with you, you know, we know all about Randolph. We've seen that. We know what he can do. He's been there, done that. Whereas this is the time to be able to look at some of the youngsters. Get out of it, man. With regards to you know, the possibility of, like you say, the players going on to pastures new. For me,
I agree, Hammer. Though that is true. Don't blame the kid.
No, I don't blame him. For me, I'd actually flog Soufal next year. Personally, I'd turf him out the door. I'd say thank you, and all the best. And then Ashby would be my backup to carer now. And he would be my cup go-to, would be Ashby. And then he can then work on, you know, either dislodging carer or, you know, once Dawson goes, you've then got Zuma, Ogbonna. Ogbonna ain't going to be around forever. You've got Agerd and, you know, Zuma Agerd. Then you'd have carer with the opportunity then for Ashby to play, to be, you know, consistent right back. And then the same with Longello. I'd bring Longello back and I'd have Longello sat there as, you know, the left back heir apparent, if you want. And he comes in and, you know, he battles Cresswell for, or even Emerson for that role next year.
Oh, that's below the belt, Mr. Cox. Oh, that's below the belt.
Love it. Love it.
Listen. When Leicester get relegated, we'll still welcome Chris on here, despite the fact there'll be a championship team.
When Leicester get relegated, I'll take Tielemans and Maddison for next to nothing. I hope he doesn't mind.
I don't think Leicester will go.
I completely agree with Kent. Kent put something up on his Facebook either yesterday or
I agree with that.
if I remember rightly. You put about the guys that won the FA Youth Cup, I believe it was, and that was when we had a bloody good youth team. I mean, we spoke to Tony about that, Rob. Do you remember when we spoke about the FA Cup?
Yeah,
FA Youth Cup. Richard Garcia, Michael Ferrenti, Carrick, all the rest of
Braley,
I say a reason I mentioned Ferrenti, Garcia, you mentioned Bertie Braley there. These were the guys that kind of went under the radar afterwards, didn't they? They kind of slipped away and went off to do, Izzy and Rick Penn, Adam.
He was the captain, wasn't he?
Adam Newton, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
These
Bywater
guys
was the goalkeeper.
Who was, sorry?
Bywater
was. Some of these guys, the likes of a Rick Penn, Braley, Ferrandi, they went off and they did their thing, and they probably still had a relatively decent footballing career at other levels, whereas these guys...
that reminds me of a joke. It's a bit rude, though. Am I allowed to say it?
It's up to you, mate. You knock yourself out.
Does anybody on here watching, have you ever heard of a comedian called Gary Delaney? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tone it down a little bit, but there's a slightly more coarse version. Doctor, I'm addicted to screwing dogs. Have you tried Patches? What's he, a poodle? Sorry. I just love dark humour. What can I say? But Tielemans and Maddison wouldn't go to West Ham. Well, they went to Leicester. Bright Lights of London.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There'd be others that go in for them, Rob.
I agree with that. I don't think he does give youth a chance, but whether it's because the youth isn't good enough or not, I don't know. I mean, don't forget, this is the guy that gave Wayne Rooney his debut. But then again, not everybody has to be... I mean, Wayne Rooney, when he came through at 16 years of age, was an exceptional talent. Not everybody's at that level, but, he doesn't like to get... I mean, I don't know what's gone on with Ashby. I mean, Ashby, for me, I would have him as the right back. I would actually have him as the right back ahead of Kehrer. Look, I'm not saying Kehrer's a bad player. That's just my opinion. I would rather have Harrison Ashby at right back. You could have Kehrer. You can rotate in between a centre back. You can rotate in between a right back. You can rotate in between central midfield, defensive midfield. You can move him around. He's a very versatile player. But Harrison Ashby, he's the future. And it really pisses me off, this thought, this notion that he's very likely going to be playing for Newcastle next season.
Yeah, but he won't. He won't be.
Do you want to bet?
No, he won't be playing for Newcastle next season. He'll be at Newcastle next season, but he won't be playing.
Yeah.
But anyway, then here we are sitting here saying that he doesn't give youth a chance.
Yeah, don't
and
mention
here we are going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 there that you've picked are all youth. The fact that he's taken youth with him tomorrow. If he didn't like the youth and didn't value the youth, didn't want to use the youth, he wouldn't have taken them tomorrow. So,
he's a mate, Hammer. He's a mate of ours. He's
good friend.
He's very, very welcome. We collaborate quite closely. So he comes on here.
Keeps bringing up Crocs, and he won't be.
Chris is a mate, so he's here with our blessing. So
with our love and affection.
Does anybody give a shit about the FCSB team?
Not in the
Seriously.
Slight,
does anybody give a shit about it?
I don't even remember them, mate.
No.
Nah.
Okay. Do you want to see what
stick it up anyway? Go on, stick it up.
Yeah, just for curiosity value. I mean, I got to be honest with you. My knowledge on Romanian football, has it grown any since we last played them? Not really. But I think they're going to go with a 4-3-3 for what it's worth and the research that I've done. Did you know
you're playing right back? Cretin? Is that? Oh no, sorry, I read it wrong.
Did you know that they haven't actually got a manager at the minute? Nikolai Dika, who was the guy that was in the dugout for the game at London Stadium just on the day that the Queen died, he's no longer their manager, according to what I've read. I don't know what's happened. They got beat at the weekend by Universitatea Cluj. They got beat 2-1.
But they've won 4. I think they've won 4 of their last 5, Rob. If my hearing does me. Take care, Chris. Cheers, buddy. From my understanding, thank you, Gio. They've won 4 of their last 5, but they did lose at the weekend. Yeah, Compagno, he was the one that scored against us, wasn't he?
Trying to think. No, I think it was actually Cordaia from memory.
We were 1-0 down.
Hang on, I can check really quickly. Yes, it was Andre Cordaia. He was the guy who scored the goal for Fcsb. Anyway, so I'll just quickly go through it for anyone that does give a monkeys. Tarnavanu in goal, back 4 from left to right, Radunovic, Tam, Dawa and Kretu. The midfield 3, Ida, Ejuma, Olaru. And then the captain will be on the left wing, Koman. Compagno is the number 9, and Cordaia, as I say, the goal scorer in the corresponding fixture, is on the right of the 3. Any of them scare the shit out of you, Duke?
Yeah, because I think they're going to be playing with two players with the same squad number, Rob. What have you done?
Oh, it's meant to be 98 and 96. Listen, they'll never notice. I can edit this bit out. Don't draw their attention to it. I've warned you about this. We've discussed it.
Can't get.
And I would have got away for it if it wasn't for you meddling pub landlords.
Cannot get the staff these days. Sort your shit
anyway,
out. You did it the other day when one of the Danish players was English. What are you doing?
Listen,
attention to detail.
Do you know how many plates I have to balance? Honestly, you try doing it one day, bastard. I would have got away for it. Jesus. Anyway, I think their danger man could well be Cordaia. As I say, he scored the goal in the corresponding fixture. He also scored their goal at the weekend against Universitatea Cluj. So I'm looking at him and I'm thinking he might be someone that we might need to sort of keep a very close eye on. But other than that, I mean, not really sort of like anything to strike fear into my heart. I don't know about you.
Well, you know what? Listen, we've got to have our wits about us, Rob. We went 1-0 down in the first half at the London Stadium. Yes, you know, the whole the passing of the Queen and everything else may well have had a huge part in that.
Definitely.
But there's nothing there that should even give our youngsters some issues. Do you know what I mean? So I'm quietly confident, even if he was to put out 6 or 7 kids tomorrow, we'd still have enough.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I mean, we can go out there and get stuffed 5-6-0, and it's really not a big deal.
May I?
May you?
May I? Richard, I know you and Kate are chin-wagging backwards and forwards about the awards. Could you let us know where there's a voting doobry that we can?
Yeah, we can kick it out on here.
Can you send us through a link or something where we can go through and we can vote for that fantastic young man?
Yes, Charlie. There is a reason why you're making a trip to the other side of Europe.
Well, he actually says, Rob, he thought they were just going over there for a piss up and an open training session. So,
well, how much is the beer over there, Charlie? I've heard it's sort of like it's about £2 a pint or something stupid like that. Is that right?
He probably won't know. He ain't there yet. He's still at 34,000 feet.
Oh, I'm sure he's done his due diligence. I'm sure he's looked into it a lot more intently than I have. He's going there. I'm not.
Do you do diligence, that is?
Depends upon what we're talking about. Clearly not with squad numbers.
No, quite clearly not. Or nationalities or anything else. And Sharky...
I'll let you do this next week, shall I?
I know what you're saying, Sharky. That is a concern.
It wouldn't be good for the youngsters, but then again, oh, look at this.
That ain't much cheaper than mine, mate, to be fair. pint of John Smith's in mine's only 40p, chip dearer than that, 45p. John Smith's in mine's £2.15.
I don't think that they drink in Romania John Smith's.
I'm just saying, my cheapest pint is Doom Bar at £2.10. So I ain't that much.
Since we're mentioning that, it probably for anyone that is watching that wonders where the hell Duke is on about. Do you want to sort of give it a little bit of a push?
That's where I am. That's my pub. That's my pub. We've got better pictures now. I still got to get one. Actually, I'm going to get the one off of the internet, Rob, that I used for Facebook and stuff. You can have that one. That's my front room window there. To the right. That's my bedroom window to the left there with the blind half open. That's my bedroom. There's my son again. He's coming back. But yeah, if anyone wants to come down and watch a West Ham game, although we are in enemy territory in South East London, just round the corner from the Blue Wankers, come down, watch the game with me tomorrow. Obviously, we're away from home, so if anyone wants somewhere to come and watch it with friends, I'm here. I was actually joined by Rob's brother at the weekend for the Man U game. So if anyone wants to come down, they are more than welcome to join me. Robert, bear with me.
Of course. No, that's fine. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So whilst Duke is dealing with matters of his child, there are the respective form guides towards the combatants that will face tomorrow at Arena Națională in Bucharest. So FCSB's Europa Conference League form, it's not great. You've got a win, you've got a loss, a draw, a loss, and then a draw. The win obviously being in the preliminary round before the group stage got going. In all competitions, again, it's a little bit patchy. You've got 2 defeats, you've got 2 wins, and you've got 2 draws. Nothing much to speak of. As for our form in the Europa Conference League, look at that. Solid green, full of W's. But then you look at all competitions, and it's not quite so rosy. 3 wins, 1 draw, 2 defeats. But
it's all right, Rob.
No, I'm not saying it's not.
If I can just answer the question that was in the chat. No, Hammer, I am an operator. It's kind of a franchise. It's a strange setup, but I operate. It's my business as such. But it's a craft union, if you will. You're always bloody here, so one game ain't gonna hurt.
Right. Okay. If anyone also wants this information, that is how the table stands at the minute. As I say, it's a complete and total irrelevance. The result tomorrow. I would like to win. Number 1, because I want to win every match. And number 2, because as I say, we would create a little bit of a record because nobody has so far gone through a group of the Conference League and won every single game. Yes, the competition's only in its 2nd year, but it's the same as what Tony said last night about the fact that he's the first man to have ever scored a Premier League hat-trick for West Ham United. And many, many other people have done it since and will do it in the future. But he can always turn around and say, but I was the first. And it would be quite nice to be able to have that little piece of history, small though it might be, that we were the first team to go through a group stage of a Conference League season and have a 100% record. But in the grand scheme of things, we've won the group. It really doesn't matter. So,
I mean, you know what pisses me off about that picture, Rob?
Go on.
They've actually conceded 4 goals against this mob. Like that hurts me a little bit. Like that just shows a lack of concentration in my book.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. That is a little bit of a disappointing aspect, it has to be said. But as I say, we've got reasons to be cheerful. So let's move on a pace and let's do score predictions. And the guys in the live chat, we're going to want your input on this. So please get stuck into it. How's this going to go?
There's part of me that wants to agree with what Kent says in the chat, and obviously Hammer 89 agrees with him as well. It really shouldn't matter tomorrow, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
But it does to me because it's a confidence thing, and it's a keeping the run going. It's a picking up a win after a defeat on Sunday. It's a case of, the kids' confidence. It's a case of, putting down our marker, if you will. Like you say, no team have won all 6 games in the group stages. So, I see where Kent's coming from and everyone else, but I'm also of the mind of, no, it is important. It is important to pick up that win and make it now 8 wins in 13. It is important to make it 6 wins out of 6 in the league. It is important for these kids to get a winning, a kind of a winning experience tomorrow. So, as much as I do agree with where Kent's coming from, that we shouldn't care what the result is. I do care. And I do feel it's important. Cheers, my man. So I'm actually going to say it'll be a 3-0 win, West Ham.
Wow, that's confidence. I'm not quite as confident, and it's simply because I think that there will be a lot of resting and rotation of the mainstays of the 11 ahead of the game at the weekend, which for me is, I'd say, is
key.
Is it must win or must not lose? I think it's, like I say, I've said it before. I think we need to get 4 points as an absolute minimum, whichever way it comes, whether it's a draw on Sunday and a win the following week or vice versa. I don't care, but I think we need to get 4 points out of those 2 games. So there'll be a lot of resting. I think there will be a few kids involved. That's already been hinted at by the man in charge. I'm going to go West Ham will win it. I'm going to go Fcsb 1, West Ham United 2. I think it'll be a tough game, but I hope that the senior pros in the team will carry the youngsters through.
Yeah, and I agree, and I see what Kent says there. The next 3 games, if I'm honest, he is right. The next 3 games are more important. We're through on this one, so it doesn't matter if we lose. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself slightly. I think if you turn around and said to me, okay, look, you lose tomorrow, you beat Leicester on Sunday, Palace on Sunday, you lose to Blackburn in the week on penalties, and then you beat beat Leicester before the World Cup break, and you take 6 out of 6, but you lose your clean sweep here and you go out of the League Cup. I'd rather take the 6 points in the league.
Yeah.
I see where everyone's coming from there. And if you could guarantee me the 6 points in the league, then you know what? I will quite happily let these the 2 cup games, if you will, slide away from us. But then I'm also of the mindset, like I say, of winning breeds a winning mentality, and it creates confidence. And if we send the kids out and they do a job tomorrow, Rob, like I'm predicting, the 3-0 win, they come back to the first team squad, and the first team squad, if you will, put their arms around these kids, pat them on the chest. Great job, lads. That's outstanding. You've kept up the work that obviously we started. Well done. Gives them a big boost. It gives the first team squad a boost to know, you know what, these kids can come through and do a job from behind us if we have to. Declan Rice can be there going, you know what, if Souček picks up an injury and Downs isn't, well, Connor's there. I've got full confidence in Connor stepping into his boots, and the same with Ashby and whatnot. So, again, it's kind of that key situation. It's a strange situation because, yes, the 2 league games are highly important and hugely important. Yep. But we have to get things out of this. I know
we'll cover that in the match preview for the Palace game. Hammer. There's obviously we got to see what happens tomorrow in case anyone gets any injuries and whatever. So we will cover it.
Yeah, Hammer. With the videos we've had, this is the 3rd one on the trot. I've got a day off tomorrow with videos, and then we're back in on Friday or for tomorrow.
Yes, sort of.
Might not even have a bloody off day tomorrow. I'm going to have to record a video tomorrow. So that's 4 days on the spin. Then I'm going to. You're going to have 3 days of videos. Then there's going to be a game and a video on the 4th day. Then there's a player event on the 5th day. Then there's a video on Saturday, game day Sunday, video Monday, video Tuesday, game day Wednesday, video Thursday, video Friday for game day Saturday for a video Sunday. Like, it's non-stop at the minute. So let me just get this out of the way. If I can, I just want to cover his couple of his questions. No, I agree with what Ken says, but there will be pressure on him. It's vital. This one, I don't think he has.
He's had a free ride. He's had.
Listening to, is it Nick, Rob? It is Nick over at Claret and Booze, isn't it?
Oh, Nick. Yeah, Nick Killington. Yeah.
I've been plugging the.
Go and subscribe if you haven't, lads.
Been plugging the computer in downstairs while I've been doing the cleaning in the morning. I've been catching up on, JP and Hammer's chat and West Ham Network, Fan TV, and been watching some of Nick over at Claret and Booze, and they did a poll, I think, on Sunday. They ran a poll, and it actually works out that the fan base is still very, very, very tolerant of David Moyes. It seems that there's like a 60 to 70% of the fan base are happy with Moyes and or tolerating Moyes, don't want him to leave, whereas the other 25-30% are either Moyes out or are teetering on that brink. So there's still a huge number of West Ham fans that are still, if you want, pro David Moyes. I don't think that. I actually think he's had, in my opinion, and I know some of you might not agree with this. Pardon me. I think he's had too much criticism. We've brought in 8 new players at the start of the season. We kind of chased for a hell of a long time an absolute, in my opinion, again, a fucking muppet of a human being. All that bollocks, right? I think we spent too long chasing a fucking muppet that kind of disrupted some of the harmony within the squad. Because, listen, we knew that Moyes wanted him. We knew that the wanker decided to play games with us. Regardless, rightly or wrongly, he ended up going where he went, and now look at him. But we spent a hell of a long time chasing him, which I do believe that there was... It created some upset within the camp. The players like Declan Rice, listen, he doesn't want to come, Dave, move on. And David Moyes is still there, chase. A bit like a greyhound round
showing a bit of leg.
Yeah.
Come on, Jeffy, over here.
Like a greyhound chasing a sock round a bloody, round a track. Not
the crusty sock.
Not the crusty sock. That one's under there. I was going to get it then. Show you now.
It's only a small sock though for you.
It's an ankle sock. I'd say a baby sock, but that's just really weird.
You've gone a little bit darker than I expected. Oh God! How many have you had?
Not even one. Beer. I mean, yeah. For fuck's sake. So I think there was a little bit of a disruption at the start of the season with regards to that whole knobhead chasing, if you will. 8 players, as Tony alluded to last night, Rob, on the channel, on the interview, he said that 8 is a lot to bring in and to try and reharmonise the squad, especially when you kind of got that disharmony with the Lingard chasing. So I think there's to a certain degree there's got to be some, not necessarily leeway given, because some of this angst, if you will, started towards the end of last season. The fact that we've only won 4.
Just seen that from Ian.
I'm going to read that. Hang on.
It's all right. We'll share it with the
Yeah,
class.
no, I see. I think the thing is, I think there was a bit of an issue there as well with Antonio coming out and openly kind of attacking Moyes, if you will. That's the way I kind of looked at that. It was a kind of an attack on Moyes in a public forum by saying that this is what he keeps telling us. Listen, rightly or wrongly, whether you agree with that, if that's his tactic, what you've now gone and done, dickhead, is you've gone out and told the world, which now allows every other manager to set up shop based on what you've just turned around and said. You know what I mean?
Then it's real simple. Change the tactics.
It's not always as easy as that, though, is it?
Instead of sort of like having damage limitation for the first half or the first hour, and then sort of releasing the handbrake and going for it, by which time maybe you're 1-0 down.
Not even maybe 1-0 down, Rob. 9 times out of 10 we normally are.
Yeah, I know.
And again, rightly or wrongly, all I was trying to put across was, there are reasons. There are obviously stuff going on behind the scenes. You go back 5 or 6 games in all competitions. I actually said that I felt that he could possibly be losing the dressing room, which was
I remember
the likes of Bowen and his performances, that it just looked like he didn't give a shit.
But it was, I think, was it the Brighton game where I said to you when they came off the pitch? It might have been Brighton, it might have been another game, but David Moyes went up to Jared Bowen and went to shake his hand, and Jared Bowen didn't want to engage him. He didn't make eye contact
at all, did he? No.
Nothing. And I looked at that and went, "Oh fuck."
Shit!" Yeah. I mean, Kent's comment about being the man being a victim of his own relative success.
Mm-hmm.
We say relative success, like what he's done is, it's not. What he's done with West Ham, getting from relegation to qualifying for Europe, literally on the brink of relegation the season before, to qualifying for Europe, to getting to the semi-final of a European competition, to qualifying for Europe a second time via our league position, on the verge of winning all 6 group games. I wouldn't say that's relative success in West Ham terms in the last 20 years. That's huge success in my book, because all we've done really is stare down the barrel of a relegation rifle a lot. We've not really done much else. So I think, agreed. I completely agree. Listen,
I don't think it'll happen.
Souček has become... I'll tell you what Souček is. Souček is the spare prick at a lesbian wedding.
Defensively, he offers something. I can't say that he's completely useless, but he's not the player that we bought and got in his first full season. What was it, 10 goals?
No, but he's
not the same player for whatever reason. As
Gonzo alluded to, Rob, things have changed and sacrifices have to be made, and for Souček to be the player that he was, and I agree, Hammerhead. It's not like I don't. It's not, when Souček was the player he was in that first full season, sacrifices had to be made, and those sacrifices came from Declan Rice. Declan Rice was the one that was, had to stop and sit and be where he was, which allowed Souček to go on and do what he did. Then Declan Rice grew into his role and became more of a box-to-box midfielder. I personally would now like to see Downs come in and play the old Declan Rice role, and see Declan Rice play the old Thomas Souček role, and be confident in the fact that we've got both of them that can do that.
Yep.
Rather than me sitting here going, okay, listen, well, you know what? When I sat here and said the Declan Rice experiment isn't working, we didn't have a replacement for Thomas Souček for that experiment to continue. we needed to put things back. Now, well, we have a replacement for Souček. We have another option that can allow Declan Rice to do what Declan Rice does. Now, so that if it means that next season, in or even in January, Soufal goes and then in the summer Souček joins, I'm not going to be too disheartened. Whereas last year I would have been very disheartened to have seen Souček go. This season, I'm not overly fussed if Souček and Soufal actually go on to other things, and that might sound harsh. I don't like ever seeing any of our players sold, but if they do, then see you later.
Everything comes to its time. Everything has a shelf life, and
unfortunately, Thomas Souček's was one season.
Yeah, well, season and a half.
Soufal's was a season and a half. He came in, didn't he, in January. That first game, I think, was away at Chelsea. I might be wrong. And he looked really, really good. And then he was really good, and then he became shit. So, like I say, if it is the end of their West Ham careers and they move on, so be it. I'm a bit disappointed, Rob, coming back to tomorrow's game, that Paqueta wasn't in the squad. I would love to have seen him get a little bit of game time, even if it was just 10, 15 minutes to get his foot on the ball again. Maybe Cornet, 10, 15 minutes just to get his foot on the ball again. Able to then maybe give him 10 minutes run out against Palace on Sunday, and then maybe a little bit longer against Blackburn on Wednesday, and then a longer run out against Leicester on the following Saturday. Key. I'll tell you what, and I don't think people seem to understand this either. They're key components of the way Moyes wants to set up, and taking those two out of the equation. Yes, taking Cornet out of the equation has been fantastic for Benny, and I think Benny has come in and he's done really well. Do I think if Cornet's fit for the game against Palace on Sunday, and by that I mean fully fit, then Benrahma doesn't start? Because I don't think Benrahma's done an exceptional amount to keep Cornet out of the side because of the way that Moyes wants to try and play. I agree with you, Hammer.
For me, I think that Scamacca's output, how Scamacca's looked since Paqueta's dropped out of the team.
Someone said the other day on the chat
massively
to drop him until Paqueta's fit. Someone mentioned it the other day on one of our streams.
No, I just think you need to get someone near him.
Again, that's where I think that Benrahma should be moved into the middle.
Yeah, but instead he's playing Downs there.
Yeah,
I just don't understand it.
Which again,
Downs is a good player. I like Downs, and Downs will have a fantastic career, but it's not his position.
No, but I get the idea of of him trying to man mark Casemiro. I get the thinking. And I know that others in the chat don't get it, don't understand it, don't like it. I get it. I like it. I like the idea of stopping them from playing up there. Unfortunately, because of that, we lack the creativity and the pace, as Ken says. By putting in a defensive midfielder to play a holding role against their defensive midfielder. I get it. It's a genius tactic, Rob. On paper, it looks like, oh, that's great. That's genius. And if it works, it's a genius move. But we lost, and people can't understand then why Downs was where he was. Because when we did go forward, we lost creativity. We lost the attacking prowess. We only had 3 players out of 11 on the pitch that were of an attacking nature. It again, like I say, it comes off, it works, it's genius, and he's applauded for it. He stops he stops their ball playing such like ours. You stop Declan Rice from playing, you stop us from playing, essentially, because he does a lot, where he is. We tried to do the same with Casemiro. Not to great effect, because when we did have the ball, we lost out going forward.
Fair. Just real quick, just to sort of briefly, let's say we won't go too much into it, but you know what I'd like to see against Palace, and this is on the basis that they're fit. The attacking midfield three.
Drops every time to ensure accuracy.
So
What's that?
my phone's just. I
That's
picked
weird.
my phone up and it opened. It was it's the How Ridiculous YouTube channel. They're actually a fun bunch of lads, and they like to drop heavy things off of a long scaffolding thing and see what they can do. It's quite fun. You should watch it.
Fair
Not
enough.
that they'll ever give us a plug. They don't know we exist.
Here you go. I'll see if this gets a reaction from anyone, whether good, bad, or indifferent. I would go the offensive midfield trio. I would go Cornet left,
Yes.
Paqueta as the 10,
Yes.
Benny right, and I would drop Jared Bowen to the bench.
Yes.
And I would then have Flynn Downs alongside Declan Rice, and I would drop Thomas Souček to the bench. And just for shits and giggles, do you know what else I'd do? If I was picking the team, I'd have Harrison Ashby at right back.
Yeah.
And I would have Areola in goal, whether Fabianski's fit or not, because I think that he just gives us that extra dimension on the counter-attack that could be vital. As a shot stopper, I don't think that there's an awful lot to choose between Fab and Alphonse, but obviously Moyes prefers, for whatever reason, to put Fab in for Premier League games. But I think that the time is coming, the clock is ticking on Fab, and that's what I would do. Yeah, he probably won't drop either of them. As I say, this is just Rob's in charge of West Ham against Crystal Palace. This is just me. This is not what I think Moyes will do necessarily. And this is obviously on the basis that everybody's fit. But that's what I would do. I would go Harrison Ashby as the right back. I would have Dawson and Zuma as the centre backs. I'd have Cresswell as the left back. I'd have Areola in goal. I'd have Rice and Downs, as the double pivot. I'd have Cornet left. I'd have Benny right. I'd have Paqueta as the 10, and I'd have Scamacca as the 9. Done. That will rip Palace a new one. I'm pretty convinced.
Can I say one thing before we call it a day?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
I'm actually in complete agreement with Hammer 89, and he says that if we lose to Palace and to Leicester, pull the trigger.
I think if we lose both of them,
I'll pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, 2 home games against one team that's fighting relegation at this precise moment in time, and then another one that
we've got 4 weeks before we come back. Then we've got 4 weeks before we come back. That gives us a chance to bring in another manager, and it also gives us the option of then, giving the new manager some sort of cash in January. Hopefully, give him a war chest. A war satchel, maybe, and then a war wallet, yeah, and then at least that way, at least we've got the opportunity to be able to do something. Like I say, honestly, I don't think it will be a Tuchel. I don't think it will be a Pochettino, but if we have to act and we want to go after those, we need to act before anyone else does, and they go after them. Wolves have just decided that they've gone for Lopetegui. Is that his name?
Lopetegui.
Lopetegui, whatever his fucking name is.
Used to be manager of Real Madrid for about 5 minutes, mind you. He's not first.
And Spain, was he Spanish manager for a while?
Yes, he was,
yeah. Again, if looking at the pictures, I think he's like Pellegrini age, isn't he? He's slightly older.
I don't think he's as old as that, is he?
I think he's slightly older.
I'll
They're
tell
probably
you.
the same age as Moyes. I mean, Moyes is not exactly young, is it?
Moyes is old. He looks older than he actually is.
Yeah,
But Julian Lopetegui is 56 years of age.
Oh, he's only 56. I tell you, I see you, Hammer. I see where you're coming from, but I hate that because we did the same with, was it Martin O'Neill, when we were looking at getting rid of
Amran Grant.
And he turned around and he fucked us off because we were doing it behind his back. So it's not even, I don't think we should be sanding him out. Who? Big Ange?
Ange Postecoglou, the Celtic manager.
Oh, postcode lottery from Celtic. Yeah.
Dear, oh dear. I didn't realise that he was the oldest manager in the Premier League.
Is he really?
Interesting.
I still think we missed a trick with Eddie Howe, if I'm honest with you.
I personally, like I say, I know you obviously you advocate Poch Hammer 89. I just can't see that him or Tuchel are going to come to West Ham, because I just look at it and go, these guys that have season on season been playing Champions League football, I can't see that they're going to be terribly interested in a team that's bobbing around in the Conference League. And also, well, the thing is that I personally think that if we let's for the purposes of the debate, and as I say, I'm mindful that I did say I didn't want to talk too much about it, and we're doing precisely that.
No.
That's what we do here. We kind of take this. What we do, right? This is the script, right? And what we do is we go and we put it through the shredder, right? I think that if we lose against Palace and we lose against Leicester, right, and they do pull the trigger, whether I think they should or shouldn't, just park that. But let's say they do. Pochettino has never had experience of a Premier League relegation battle, which if we lose those two games is precisely what we would be in. And I think that you need a manager with a particular skill set to get you out of that shit. It's like Pellegrini. With all due respect, Pellegrini, whatever you say about Pellegrini, he won a Premier League. He was at Real Madrid. He actually got a lot of points at Real Madrid. That they had the one season he was manager. I think he got like 96 points or something like that. And it was a ridiculous season from Barcelona that took the La Liga that season. He's managed two teams in their debut season in the Champions League to the quarterfinals, one of which he actually got to the semi-finals in Villarreal in 2006, if I remember correctly. So he was a manager of a certain pedigree. But the moment that we got involved in the relegation battle, he didn't have a fucking clue what to do. No. He was like a fish on a bicycle, completely, just he was like a fucking fish on a bicycle, right? So I think that you need I don't think that Poch is that manager, with all due respect. Listen, great manager, played fantastic football at Spuds, as much as it pains me to say.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Hammer's gone in there, and that's precisely the person that I think we would probably get.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well, and again, listen, Dyche did a great job at Burnley on a shoestring and all the rest of it. Do I think he would be a good fit for us? Not really. But it wouldn't shock me if we went for him. If like I say, if we lost those two games and they did go, I think, are we getting Poch or are we getting Dyche? I think the balance of probability is we'd get Dyche, but there you go. We've got a better squad than what Poch had at Spurs. I beg to differ on that one, but listen, that's an opinion. I personally think, put it this way, certainly not better than the squad that he had when he got to the Champions League final. You think about you got the French international goalkeeper, captain of the World Cup winning team in France, Lloris. You've got Harry Kane. You've got Son. You've got prime Dele Alli, not the Dele Alli that you've got that's pissed off to Turkey, that's basically now a pub player. This was a Dele Alli that was one of the world's best midfielders. Lucas Moura. Kyle Walker, I think, was still there, was he? I think Trippier was still there. So not that squad. Maybe the squad when he walked through the door, arguably, but...
But then also the argument is, Rob, that I think Hammer made it...
We rip up the script every time, Lee. You know that.
Hammer mentioned it the other day. Ancelotti went to Everton, so you've got to bear that in mind as well. Oh,
and he did great for them, didn't he?
But that's what I'm saying. He still went there, though.
Them. Yeah, but he screwed them. I don't really want that. So, anyway. Should we wrap it up, old chap? We've been
I think we
waffling
should.
on about lots of subjects other than what we actually sort of started
Yeah,
with.
than what we came in
Before
for, yeah.
we go, ladies and gentlemen, there's 30 of you watching. Do us a favour. We've only got 17 likes on the stream, so if you'd be kind enough to do us a favour, click the thumbs up button on YouTube. And if you're not watching it on YouTube, you're watching it on Twitter or Facebook, do us a favour, pop over to YouTube, pop a like on it. If you haven't, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon, and you'll know when Duke and I are on stream and talking complete bollocks as usual.
Right.
But one thing that isn't bollocks, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Forged from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Duke, just one thing I've got to ask you, my friend. What are we?
Massive. Absolutely ridiculously massive.
That'll do me. Off to Romania we go. Come on, you Irons. £1.70 a pint, though. How much is your John Smith's, though, Duke?
£2.35.
Get yourself down to the Lewisham Tavern if you're nearby tomorrow, gentlemen and ladies. Get stuck in. Thanks for joining us.